Hi guys, William Morris here, and today I just wanted to take a look at a new audio Imperia library called Sinfonia Drums. And I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently to normal in that this time I've written a short kind of just percussion only section of the track. And this is just using 100% the library. There's nothing else at all, no other libraries at all, no effects and no sort of external processing of any kind. So everything you hear is completely raw and from the library. So all I've done is written a short percussion section, and there's a couple of Atmos and drone tracks at the bottom here, and I've tried to use a sort of cross-section of the instruments that you'd get from the library. So I'm going to play you the track first so you can have a listen to what the library might sound like in context a little bit more, and then we're going to go through and have a listen to the patches separately and just see what's included with the library. Okay, so let's take a listen. So there we are, guys. Hopefully that will give you an idea of the overall kind of tone of the library, maybe give you an idea of what possibly it could be used for. Although it is a percussion library, and obviously, you know, it's got a lot of mileage in terms of what you can do with the sounds. So now you've heard the track, I just want to give you a quick overview of the library. It's not a Kontakt player library, so you will need a full version of Kontakt, and this is how it's going to appear in your file browser. So it's divided into these 5 categories. We have drums, and within that there's kick, snares, toms, rototoms, cymbals, concert bass drum, cow drum, Irish drum, vintage marching drum, and timpani. And then that folder is almost mirrored in process drums, which is exactly the same, but obviously all of these have been kind of juiced up a bit more processed. So those 2 folders cover the more playable sort of drums, in that there's round robins and they're kind of playable as a kit, and you can do repeating phrases with them. After that, we have design drums, and the design drums are kind of, again, sort of more processed, more sound designy kind of bass drums, and that's all in this patch here, and a DFD one as well. There's also low impacts, which are one-shot, low impact hits, kind of like big boom, subby kind of things. And finally, there are atmospheres. Now, the atmospheres are divided into tonal mapping, where there's one patch loaded at a time, and you can play them tonally across the keys. And the normal atmosphere patch here has all the various patches loaded onto one key each, so you can kind of play it as a menu, decide which one you want, and then maybe go into the tonal one and choose that patch again. The UI for the patches is all the same, pretty much. Really, really simple stuff. So we're on the main page at the moment, and there's an effects page as well. You have simple volume pan, and then an attack release controls. You have this big central control, which is kind of tied to a few parameters that you can choose in the effects section under big knob. So at the minute it's on lo-fi, but you can choose anything from this list, and then it will assign a parameter to be controlled by the big knob down here. So also in the effects section you have inserts and sends. So on the insert side we have a bit of compression, distortion, lo-fi, rotary, all that kind of stuff. And sends, you have some delay, convolution, reverb. You can turn on and off of that. There's also a step modulator section, so if you want to get a little sequence up and running, you can do that as well. So let's just head back into the main section. For every drum you can have a pitch control, so you can pitch up and down. You get a visual representation of the waveform for whichever sample you're playing, and also something which I quite like is you get to see the sample name. This comes in handy a lot more for the designed and processed drum patches, so you can kind of see if you're on a roll or a crescendo patch or something like that. Also on some of these patches there is a sample start control, so you can just control the start time of the sample. So if you wanted to come in a bit further into the waveform, you can do that as well. And lastly, at the bottom, we just have a simple EQ and filter section. So you've got low pass on the left, high pass on the right, and your main EQ section in the middle. So really simple UI there. Just going to pop this one back to 0. Okay, so now I thought it'd be nice if we just went through and had a quick solo of some of the various things I've used, and then you can kind of just hear them in context and also soloed a little bit as well. And then I'll do a kind of more in-depth look at each of the patches after that. So I'm on low impacts at the minute, so let's just start by having a listen to that one. There we go, not terribly exciting, just a kind of first bar, kind of big accent for that. Next one up is Designed Hits. So as I was mentioned, these are the much more kind of sound designy sort of one-shot hits. I've also, this is the only one I've converted to audio. It was just so I could reverse it and make a little rise into this next section here. But that's also from the Designed Hits patch. We've got some snares, which is just playing the main pattern. We have toms, which is doubling that. And there's also a little stick kind of rhythm thing going on in that one as well. Irish drum. These are the kicks. There's also rototoms. A lot of this is all doing the same pattern. This is from the cymbals category. So this one's a slow crescendo. Just a hit added on the end. It's a marching drum. These are a couple of Atmos patches, which I'll just put in together. Sort of dark, synthy, drone kind of stuff. Pretty cool. I really like the Atmos patches actually. It's not many of them, but the stuff that's in there is pretty cool. That should give you an idea of what I've used in the track. So let's, I'll just create a new instrument track here, and we'll take a kind of just closer look into the library. So as I was saying before, there's two of the first categories kind of identical really, apart from the second one obviously has all the processing done to it. The processing ones are the ones I've used in this track, just because I knew I wasn't going to add a lot of my own effects. I just wanted to do a kind of quick sketch to give you guys an idea. So let's just go through and have a little play from the drums patch to start with. We'll start off with some kicks. One thing I missed from the UI earlier was that for the drum kind of main categories, you get this mic mix panel up. So you can kind of see you got like overheads. I think these are room mics, sub and stuff like that. So you can really mix in your own sound. General rule for all the patches, all the hits are on blue keys and more effects type stuff is on red. So like your rolls, crescendos, that kind of stuff. So let's just have a little listen to the kicks. So there we go. Let's roll on to snares. So as you can see, we get the names flashing up when you hit a particular key, which is really nice to just see what sort of patch you're on. Let's take a listen to the toms now. Now let's listen to the rototoms. So now we have the cymbals. I really like the cymbals. They've got a kind of quite dark sort of quality to them, which is quite nice, so they don't sort of stick out too much in a mix. Okay, so next up we have the concert bass drum. So one thing I've noticed a little bit with the two kind of hit stuff is that you do get a bit of phasing and stuff if you kind of hit them at the same time. Just a little bit on some of those there. Okay, so let's take a listen to the cow drum. Next we've got the Irish drum. So I think this is possibly one of the deepest ones in the collection. It's got a real kind of like loose sort of big skin drum kind of thing going on. You get sticks with pretty much all the drums as well, which is really nice. So you've got a lot of rim shot type stuff, and nice for all those little ticky kind of patterns in the background. So this is going to be the vintage marching drum. And finally we have a timpani. So it looks like these are mapped across a few octaves. Obviously it's a tonal drum, so let's just have a listen. So I'm guessing these are left and right hand in the blue here. And then, what have we got higher up? Got a couple in red. So these are your rolls. Yeah, tonal rolls for this. Okay, so that's all the drums for this section, guys. So I thought it'd be nice if we took a quick listen to the process ones. I'm not going to go through all of them because I say they are the same category as this, and we can maybe do a comparison between the two. So let's just maybe do the snares. Put the snares from the regular drum category and then the processed snares, and we'll just take a listen to both and see what the difference is between them. So this is the regular one first. And now the processed. Just bring that volume down a bit because it's louder than the other one. So the process one is obviously a lot bigger. It's got more room sound on it and stuff like that as well, and it's definitely got a push in several areas. Let's just listen to a couple more in this section and see what we've got. So maybe do the toms. try the concert bass drum. And let's have a go on the vintage marching drum. So definitely live up to the name, definitely more processed than the dry ones from the category before. So let's have a listen now to the design drums, see what we've got in there. So pretty cool sound designy kind of stuff there. None of these, I don't believe, have any kind of round robin or anything like that, so they're going to be essentially one shots. If you try and play them in a kind of any sort of repetitive manner, then you just get this. So that's it for the design drums. Let's move on to the low impacts. So that's your low stuff. Again, kind of a one-shot category there, meant more for your kind of big accents at the start of a bar and stuff like that. So let's go on to the final category, and we have atmospheres. Just going to start out in the full atmospheres patch. So on this one, what you're going to get is a patch per key, basically. Now, I know this is a drum library, but I actually think the Atmospheres folder is probably one of my favourites. It's got this kind of really cool sci-fi vibe. Everything's kind of nice and minimal still, so it doesn't really, it's not too overbearing in a key or anything like that. So to go alongside this patch where you have one per key, there's also a tonally mapped one, and in that one you can play. There's a kind of a drop-down menu, so you've got every single different patch here, and you just select the one you want, and then you can play it across the key range. So you can maybe do some more kind of chord-based stuff if you wanted, or it can then shift with the rest of your composition. So that's it for the library, guys. I'm pretty pleased with this one so far, actually. And I think what this library's kind of doing really well is adding a lot of punch and kind of definition to to my drum kind of tracks, because everything's quite nice and dry and snappy, and there's a lot of that kind of low mid kind of punch that just helps glue like the percussion track together. I don't think it's a library that you could kind of standalone do trailers with, mainly due to just the size of the drums. They're kind of all in that sort of low mid punch area, as opposed to huge big kind of really hyper aggressive drum stuff for trailer things. But I think as a layering library, and as something that you can add to other libraries, that's going to be the real strength of this one. So the vibe overall seems to be a bit more of that cinematic kind of Johan Johansson Sicario kind of vibe. The only thing I really wish though is that there were maybe some more kind of bigger, lower drums. The only sort of really low category we have is the low impacts one, but they're not playable. They're just like a one shot folder. But overall, I'm really impressed. I love the kind of natural feel these have. They really feel like they're played by a human. Very kind of natural. Even the processed ones do feel as if there's someone or something behind them. And I hope that's come across, because even in my tracker having the background here, this is all just kind of very quickly played in, and often just copy and pasted on a lot of the channels just to get something up and running to show you guys. So I've not spent hours and hours programming and kind of tweaking velocities and everything like that. But even so, I think it sounds kind of reasonably natural and very organic in the mix, really. So I hope you've enjoyed this walkthrough, guys. If there's anything else that you'd like me to take a look at, just let me know in the comments. I'm hopefully going to be putting up the track that I'm using this on as soon as I can, as soon as I got it all completely signed off and everything's finished and I'm allowed to post it. So I hope you found this useful, and I'll see you next time.